Hi and welcome back. We are on the last episode of the sauces that are in this barbecue book. If you're just new and joining, my name is Grandma Rebel, and I am on the last episode of a cookbook that I found in an antique shop that I found from 1947. We are trying these recipes. So far, most of them are really good. Some of them are not. It is definitely to taste. This is number 4, so if you want to take a look at some of the past videos, just count back from this video. And do apologize for the noise in the area. I have my ice machine going 24/7. It's again 105 degrees with a heat index in my car of 128. So this week we are actually not going to fire up the barbecue. I have been very nervous about the barbecuing outside with all the dead stuff that's in the area. Everything is brown, everything is crispy. We've been working on trying to keep everything somewhat not dehydrated, because everybody in the area has cracks in their lawns about the size of the Grand Canyon. This is due to the soil here being of clay consistency as well as sand consistency. Those two are not a combination whenever there is no moisture in the area. So we're going to go ahead and make some sandwiches. These are going to be steak sandwiches. We're going to go ahead and do a barbecue sauce, which we're going to cook the meat in. We're also going to do it says barbecue sauce for sandwiches, but it's more of a kind of like a chopped tomato type sauce. I guess they call it sauce, but we call it, picante, or not necessarily picante, kind of like a salsa, that chunky salsa that you get, and something called sauce Jerez, Jerez. I'm going to go ahead and start out with that one because it looks like it's going to be the one that is going to take a little bit of time to put together. It takes 1/4 pound of processed cheddar cheese. You can use Velveeta. I'm using real cheddar cheese. 1/2 cup sherry. I don't have sherry. We're going to use that Merlot that we have. 1 teaspoon dried mustard. 1/2 teaspoon seasoning salt. 1/4 teaspoon paprika, and salt to taste. This is going to be the sauce that goes on top. So let's get started. Okay, first we're going to go ahead and start with the 1/2 cup of, it's supposed to be sherry. That way the cheese has something to melt into. The alcohol will cook out of this. about 2 cups. of cheddar cheese. It says processed cheddar cheese. I think in 1940 they were still used, or at the 47 they were still used to World War II rations. So they had that processed cheese. Kind of like Velveeta. I think that's where the idea for Velveeta came from. A 1 teaspoon of dry mustard. Half a teaspoon seasoning salt. I don't have seasoning salt, so we're going to go ahead and use celery salt. Quarter teaspoon paprika. We're using smoked paprika. And it's not Grandma's kitchen without a mess. And salt to taste. We're just going to add a little bit right now. And wait till this all melds together. Add if needed. Now I have this on medium heat just to get this going. Then we'll go ahead and lower it whenever it starts to melt together. And then put aside. Okay, and if you keep stirring it, what's going to happen is that it's going to combine together to make kind of, it's because I'm using the Merlot, it's going to turn into a purple sauce. There's no going around that. It's still cheese, it's still wine. And this is ready to be put in a bowl and in the fridge for the sandwiches. Now that we have the cheese sauce in the refrigerator, I'm thinking we're going to use one of these to actually cook the meat in. That way it has a nice marinade to it. We're going to do this other barbecue sauce for sandwiches on the side, just in case we want to add that to the sandwich itself. This one is this sauce is not for basting, but it is served over barbecued meats and in sandwiches. 1 clove of garlic, 1 whole onion minced, 2 tablespoons of oil, 2 teaspoons of chili powder, 1 teaspoon of dry mustard, 2 bay leaves, 1/4 teaspoon marjoram, a can of tomatoes pureed, 1/4 cup of vinegar, and 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt. Cook the garlic and onion in oil about 5 minutes and add the rest of the ingredients and simmer gently, stirring frequently about 40 minutes or until desired thickness. Remove the bay leaves. It is ready to use or can be sealed in jars. This has oil in it, so please boil for your jars for 60 minutes. If the sauce is heated before spreading, the flavors and the meat and the sauce are blended together. Let's go ahead and start on this one. All right, got our pan here. I'm going to put everything on medium. Okay, we're going to start with a can of tomatoes. And instead of real onions, we're going to go ahead and use some dried minced onions. About a half a cup of minced onions per 1 cup of real onions. That's about enough for a whole onion. I need to get some more of that. It needed to be used. 1 clove of garlic. And again, as much garlic as you want. Two tablespoons of oil. About 2 tablespoons. Two teaspoons of chili powder. Again, we're going to use paprika. About 2 teaspoons. One teaspoon of dried mustard. We're going to go ahead and add the vinegar right now, about a 1/4 cup. I'm going to use my homemade apple cider vinegar. Quarter teaspoon of marjoram, so just a pinch would do just fine. Okay, and it's wanting 2 bay leaves and a 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt. And I'm guessing we're going to go ahead and cook this until it's thick enough. It looks like it's probably going to be a nice spread. More of a paste than anything else. So we'll go ahead and let that combine on low for, it says 40 minutes. We'll keep an eye on it. If we have to put a little bit of water in here, we will. Okay, so for this last sauce, like I said, we're going to go ahead and put it into the pan with the meat to be able to cook it all together. So the meat is more or less cooked in the sauce. It is called BBQ Sauce for steaks or hamburgers. This recipe is enough for 6. 1 cube of butter. 1/2 cup of olive oil. 1/2 cup of ketchup. 1 teaspoon of prepared mustard, which means the yellow mustard that you get, from the bottle. A dash of Worcestershire sauce. Grated onion and garlic as desired. We're going to use powders. Juice of a 1/2 lemon, so about 1/2 tablespoon, and salt and pepper to taste. Shake well, pour over meat, and as served or soak meat in before broiling. It says broiling, not grilling. So broiling. I'm going to, again, this is the last time. We're going to go ahead and take pictures of these and put these at the end of the video, just like the others. Okay, let's go ahead and get this one done. And then we'll go ahead and assemble some sandwiches. Again, I'm going to do this on medium. We're doing this in our cast iron wok. Now, again, there are no measurements of what a cube of butter is. I'm going to go ahead and guess. It's about a tablespoon. Okay, and a half a cup of oil. Now we're going to go ahead and put the meat in next. That way the meat starts to fry and get cooked and nice and crispy. And then we'll add the rest of it. Now I've gone ahead and chopped this up. I also put some salt on it. We're gonna go ahead and fry it until everything is a little bit crispy. This could take a moment. Okay, now that we've added the meat, let's go ahead and let this cook. And then we'll add the rest of the ingredients for the cooking sauce. Now that we have this all cooked and most of the moisture is boiled out, let's go ahead and put in the rest of the ingredients. Now it's saying a half a cup of ketchup, which is about the rest of this jar. Okay, a half a teaspoon about of lemon juice. Garlic to taste. And instead of fresh onion, we're using onion powder, and it looks like I need to go get more. Okay, pepper to taste. We're just going to go ahead and add a little bit. And a dash of Worcestershire sauce. That's my dash. And a teaspoon of prepared yellow mustard. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and let this simmer in this sauce. Mix it all in. Let it simmer in the sauce, and then we're going to go ahead and let it boil out all the moisture. That way you don't have a soggy sandwich. There we go. Let's go ahead and let that boil and all the moisture evaporate. But keep an eye on it. You don't want this to burn. Liquid's all evaporated, and all we have left is that liquid, or the oil that's frying the meat. That's what we want, and that's what you want. You want to cook this for about another 15 minutes until it looks like this. Now that the meat is all nice and sauteed and ready to be put on sandwiches, let's go ahead and assemble. First, we're going to go ahead and taste everything that we've made. I want an honest opinion about the sauces themselves before we have the finished product. Here we have the sauce for hamburgers. It definitely is not the chunky salsa that I was thinking of, but we'll go ahead and taste it and see what it is. I have this to jar up. I'm going to go ahead and process this, and we're going to use what's left over. Tastes kind of like a fancy ketchup, but it has a twang to it. This didn't call for Worcestershire sauce, but you can add it because it seems like it's probably going to need it. Alright, not my best as a regular recipe, but it is a good base for other things. There wasn't much of the sauce left after everything marinated in this meat to be able to taste on its own, but I do have a piece of meat here. Let's go ahead and take a taste. I like that. It's smooth. You definitely want to salt to taste on this one, but it tastes more of a classic barbecue sauce. The other barbecue sauces that I have, they're good. They're definitely different than a regular normal barbecue sauce. This one's the closest that I have found in this recipe book. So let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and swallow this, and we'll go ahead and taste the cheese sauce. That I'm looking forward to. Cheese sauce tends to start getting solid again, so you may need to warm this up before you put it on your sandwiches or serve it. Let's go ahead and try a little bit of this. Oh. This, I guess you can use any alcohol you want. I use the Merlot because that's what I have. Beer, if you like beer, go ahead and do this. Tequila, Jack Daniels. Just substitute. That's all you need to do. But I'm not a beer person. I never liked beer, neither does Grandpa. So go ahead and definitely try this one. You want to get out your bolo. Bolo is Mexican for sandwich roll. I think that's what it was labeled at. Okay, go ahead and open that up. You can go ahead and, if you want to, add some of this to the bottom. And we're going to go ahead and take our meat. Add as much as you want. You can also add some sauteed peppers and onions. Make it more of a I'm not going to call this a cheesesteak. You know the Philly cheesesteaks. This is not it. I'm not going to insult the Philly cheesesteak by saying that this is kind of like a Philly cheesesteak, because it's steak, but it's barbecue. Philly's not barbecue. Okay. Okay, now that we have that, let's go ahead and drizzle the cheese sauce. All over, as much as you want. It's not pretty, but it's going to taste fantastic. Now that was Grandpa's. If you've been watching my videos for any length of time, I am a celiac diabetic. I cannot eat regular bread. It does make me sick to the point to where I probably should go to the hospital, but really haven't yet. Yeah. So I'm going to go ahead and make an open face sandwich with my almond bread. I did toast my almond bread, got a little bit burnt on one of them, not too bad on the other. That's fine. Go ahead and put a little bit of this sauce on here. And the meat. That one wants to get away from me. A little bit more. And the cheese sauce. Okay, got our nice slice of watermelon here, and that would be a diabetic. It's the tomatoes for all of this, including the watermelon. This is the limit for a meal. This is about 10 to 15 carbs. And watermelon is actually really good for diabetics because it's about the only fruit that actually aids in the liver to be able to digest and process the fructose. This is the tomatoes in here is about I want to say 3 carbs. And my almond bread is a 3 carb each. So it's not that bad for a carb meal. So this can be keto. This can be, depending on how many times you eat a day, can be extreme keto or even way of eating. As well as if you're on dirty keto, this would be perfect as well. And this is a lot of food. 3, 2, and 1. So I hope you enjoyed our little mini series on the 1947 cookbook, Sunset Barbecue Cookbook that I found in the antique store. We did all the barbecue sauces that were in there. We didn't even touch the sides. There's a whole bunch of other recipes in there. But if you want me to go ahead and continue on with the older recipes that the greatest generation cooked for the boomer generation, which is my mother's generation, my father's generation, to see what they ate, how they processed. Most people at that time grew all the ingredients in their garden. And it was simple back then. You grew cabbage, you grew tomatoes, you grew cucumbers. You had a set of things that you actually grew for your household. And then the commodities like flour and sugar were bought at the general store. Back then there was no Walmart, there was no Target, there was no HEB, anything like that. You had little general stores in every single town. Along with schoolhouses that housed 15, 20 children for all ages, all the way from kindergarten all the way to graduating high school. And back then, graduating high school was an accomplishment. Most kids stopped at the 3rd grade because they had to help on the farm and to be able to help with the upkeep and taking care of their family. Let me know in the comments down below if you want me to continue this. If you've gone ahead and made any of these recipes, let me know how you liked them. Some of them I liked, some of them I didn't like. And I did make that clear on every single one of these videos. Thank you for joining. Hope you enjoyed. And we'll see you next time.